Pharma wrote this. And there's one consortium company we just mentioned that runs it all. And, of course, Warren Buffett's heavily invested in that, and he helped get Obama into power. It's all about monopolies. That's where the real power is created and maintained and expanded. Remember what John D. Rockefeller I said? Competition is a sin. He said it over and over again. It was a mantra. He wrote news articles, editorials saying competition is a sin. And healthcare costs are going to go up and up and up, and the quality's going to go down, down, down. All run by Amerigroup Corp. Isn't that nice? Itself a subsidiary of the private shareholders of the Federal Reserve. Here's the Washington Post back in December 3 months ago. Healthcare bill wouldn't bring real reform. Howard Dean. Of course, he flip-flopped quickly. We'll talk about solutions to fight this and how to resist these people after we take some calls. And I'm going to just go through a laundry list of issues and points I want to make about this after we hear some of your points. And coming up, this is Bloomberg today. Obama pays more than Buffett as U.S. risk AAA rating. Talks about how Warren Buffett's company gets a better rating than the U.S. government. And how treasuries, they're having trouble selling treasuries now. And this is happening worldwide as they get ready for a global devaluation. First, they had to seize control of healthcare, another way to empower the banks and prop up their derivatives tsunami. The government running healthcare, the IRS garnishing your wages. Does that sound like the American way? No.
In this economy, with this unemployment, with our desperate needs for jobs and economic growth, is this really the time to raise taxes, to create bureaucracies, and burden every job creator in our land? The answer is no. Can you go home and tell your senior citizens that these cuts in Medicare will not limit their access to doctors or further weaken the program instead of strengthening it? No, you cannot. Can you go home and tell your constituents with confidence that this bill respects the sanctity of all human life and that it won't allow for taxpayer funding of abortions for the first time in 30 years? No, you cannot. And look at how this bill was written. Can you say it was done openly? With transparency and accountability? Without backroom deals and struck behind closed doors? Hidden from the people? Hell no, you can't! Have you read the bill? Have you read the reconciliation bill? Have you read the manager's amendment? Hell no, you haven't!
Order, Mr. Speaker. Bring it forward.
Both sides would do well to remember the dignity of the House.
Mr. Speaker, in a few minutes, we'll cast some of the most consequential votes that any of us will ever cast in this chamber. The decision we make will affect every man, woman, and child in this nation for generations to come. If we're going to vote to defy the will of the American people, then we ought to have the courage to stand before them and announce our votes one at a time. I sent a letter to the Speaker this week asking that the call of the roll be ordered for this vote. And Madam Speaker, I ask you, will you, in the interest of this institution, grant my request? Will you, Mr. Speaker, grant my request that we have a call of the roll. Mr. Speaker,
Rhetorical question or...
will you grant my request that we have a call of the roll?
Under Clause 2A of Rule 20, a record vote is conducted by electronic device unless the Speaker directs otherwise.
And you, Mr. Speaker, will you grant that request?
That's Republican leader John Bonner in the House of Representatives, and they did not allow a vote with yeas or nays because they're a bunch of cowards, and they know that every poll out there shows more than 70% of the American people against the government running health care. Sure, some polls show more than 50% that want to give poor people some health care. You know, this is a big-hearted country, a lot of stupid people that think there can be free lunches, and then our society won't collapse and it won't breed dependency. But the vast majority of Americans know the government will not deliver that. All they ever do is break every promise they've made. They've stolen the Social Security money. They've stolen the Medicare and Medicaid money. And now they're jacking up all these stealth taxes, that many of which go to the federal government, but a lot of it goes directly to the top insurance companies, and that's why they wrote this bill. So to all of you socialists out there that believe in this imaginary pot of gold with leprechauns at the end of it that serve out free lunches, you need to know you're going to get lower standards of care. And let me tell you something. Nobody goes without care in this country. The illegal aliens already know that. We've had Ron Paul on, a medical doctor, to talk about it. My dad's a physician. And the illegal aliens know. They show up at the hospital. They get whatever they need. They have babies here. It's all paid for. Citizens are told and taught they don't get health care taken care of. Rob Jacobson was real sick and needed to have a surgery, and they were telling him he didn't get to have it. And I went and showed him the rules, and he went and got a $40,000 surgery and hospital stay, all paid for. And it was done through the charity department because under the old rules and old laws, 1/3 of a physician's work is to be done for free. That was taught in the colleges until just a decade ago. You are supposed to render free or discounted care. We had the best health care system in the world and the least expensive until government in the last 35 years got involved, and the more tax money it got pumped in to the big, giant oligopolies, the big health cartels who are incredibly corrupt, the more money got pumped into them, the more the prices went up. That's just one reason. 30 million illegal aliens and the rest of it adds to it. All right, I said I'd go to your calls. There's just so many facets I want to go over. Another issue, because I know the Constitution, but now they're admitting it all over the news that that is the case. An executive order does not trump a congressional law. And so Obama has said he'll sign an executive order restricting taxpayer money going to abortions. But as Ron Paul pointed out on Fox News last night, that this has already been going on. You've already been funding abortions with Medicare and Medicaid and all these different systems. You've already been paying for it. The federal government comes into hospitals with money. It's given to them, and they simply shuffle the funds around. They'll take the money and use it on one area of care, and then use the money from that old area and move its money over into abortion. And they even have a term for it. But regardless, an executive order does not trump congressional law. Now, usually Congress doesn't challenge the president or past presidents when they use executive orders to bypass law. Just like they can't pass the greenhouse gas tax takeover, 2,000-plus page bill, home inspections. If you don't make the changes in your house under federal zoning, in 1 week your home can be taken and forfeited without a judge, a jury. Control of people's land, taxes on flatulence of cows and pigs, grabbing huge areas of property. Australia's already doing it. Taxes on all industry, all oil, all power, all energy, $2.6 billion tax in 3 years in Austin within 3 years of it. $2.6